Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Mame, and in this video I'm going to be giving you my take on the Nollywood Netflix series Far From Home. Far From Home was produced by Ink Block Productions. I've never seen a movie by them before, so it was my first. Disclaimer, this review will contain spoilers. I'm going to tell you the whole story, so if you don't like that, I'd advise you go watch it first. But if you don't mind it, I'm going to get right in. This movie series tells the story of a guy named Ishaya Bello, who's a talented artist, and he is trying to jack back to London because he got picked to be part of a art program. So his family comes from very little. They're kind of struggling to reach ends meet. But somehow he finds his way into a prestigious school called Wilmer Academy through a scholarship, and he thinks that this scholarship money could pretty much help him get to London to his art program. However, the plan doesn't really go to plan, and he ends up getting entangled with rich kids, recreational drugs, and some very bad guys. And basically, in the end, he ends up confessing to everything, but he faces zero consequences, and life just goes on. Now, let's move on to the cast. It's got some big names in there, and also a few people that we've not really seen on our screens before. So I'm gonna start with the main character, who is Mike Afolarin, and he plays Ishaya Bello. My first time ever seeing him on the screen. He was amazing. Another actor I've not seen before is Elma Mbadiwe, who plays Carmen, another kind of lead character in this. But then moving on to the A-listers, so we had Nino B, RMD. So Nino B played Rambo, RMD played Carmen's dad. We got Bimbo Akintola, who plays Carmen's mom. Funke Akindele, who plays Ishaya's mom. Adiswa Tommy Williams, who plays the art teacher. DME O'Connell, who plays Essien. We've got Chama Potter, who plays Frank's mom. So Frank is another student in the series. We've got Lukama McDermott, who plays Atlas's mom. Uke Okoye plays Nana's mom. Yeah, you just have a lot of stars just hanging out at different parts of this series. So you gotta keep an eye out for them. Standout characters for me included Ishaya. First of all, like I said, whoever was in charge of casting took a risk on him, because I could have seen somebody like Timini Ekbusom in that role, someone similar to that, but they took a chance with Mike Afolarin, and it paid off. He really embodied the character that he was, his mannerisms, the way he spoke, like his actions, the facial expressions, how he related to his co-stars. His performance was very believable. I felt like he was actually Ishaya, and I feel like this role is going to define him for a long time, but not in a bad way. Like, everyone's going to know him as Ishaya because he gave that character his everything, and that's what we're going to remember him for. So that was really good. I was very impressed by him. Also, Frank's character was just very sweet. I really liked him. I don't remember the actor who played Frank, but I'll put his name here. He looks about the right age. He's got a baby face. He just had that youthful energy about him. And also, his mother, played by Choma Akpata, like, I don't know how many scenes she had, but in every scene she just did enough, you know. She just did what she needed to do as she went, and that's how I like A-listers to be used in these kind of things. I don't think you should give them excessive lines or have them in it too much just because they're big, but I think she played her character very well, and we didn't need to see too much of her for her to have an impact, which I really enjoyed as well. Another character I really liked was Adufe. I'll put her name here as well. She gave it, you know. She had this sassy, fiery energy that I loved. I loved her costuming as well. Side notes, which I'll come back to costuming, but she looked the part each time, and I just like the energy she gave, and I think she did a really good job. For my first time seeing her, I was impressed. Then also, another controversial character who I quite liked was Denrele. Even though the guy had probably the least amount of lines in this whole thing, you remember him. It tells a lot. Like, for you not to be saying a lot, but for us to still feel your character, empathize a little bit, feeling like, for us to have emotions towards your character without you saying much is very impressive. He just did it for me. It wasn't too much, but I liked it. Good job to him for making the most out of very little, you know. So the characters I didn't love, Carmen, she lacked dimension. Even though she was one of the leads, I didn't feel empathy for her. I wasn't rooting for her at any point, and I wasn't also like looking forward to seeing her. So for someone who's playing a lead character, I think this is kind of two-part. It's like the character development itself wasn't great, but then also her delivery didn't make it any better. Not that it was a bad delivery. I think she did what she was told to do, but it just didn't stand out for me. That was all. And then Mr. and Mrs. Bello, so Ishaya's parents. Once again, I didn't like the characters. So the acting was good, but the characters I felt like were just really horrible parents. You know, from Ishaya's mom being a dream killer in every way possible, from killing her husband's dreams to killing her daughter's dreams of going to this school, and then killing Ishaya's dreams of trying to go to London as well. She was an EP, she was an up. Like, your mother should never be your biggest enemy. It's so funny, but no one talks about this enough, that Ishaya's mother is really like the cause of a lot of the problems. She's a terrible mother, and Ishaya's dad, like, you literally have sat around like a bum, and then you decide to start painting again or doing art again, and then kick your son out for the same reason. Like, you want to feed your family off of art, but you're gonna kick your son out for trying to pursue that same dream. It didn't really make sense. So those two, I didn't like them. Delivery was good, but I just didn't like the characters. Now on to the film itself, like the production. The person who shot it did an amazing job. The locations were really good. The scenes that they shot in Lagos Island was just rich. The colors, the hustle and bustle, the struggle, like you really felt all of that while watching it. Also, the school that they used as Wilmer Academy, I don't know what school it is. I'm assuming it's in one of the nicer parts of Lagos, but they really used like all of that school, and it really did feel like, you know, a rich, prestigious school that they were trying to get across. You know, the classrooms were classrooming, the pitches were pitching, like the assembly hall, everything was very believable. It was a very good use of different locations. Like, I'm not used to seeing schools look that good in Nollywood movies. No offense, but you know, think about it yourself. How many have you seen that look that well put together? But the aesthetics of the film are generally really nice. Color was pleasing to the eye. Sound and music was also very good. The costume was top notch. Every character dressed the part. The uniforms they used for Wilmer Academy were very nice. Don't know how realistic they were for Nigeria, but they were very nice. So production wise, I think everything was amazing. There was nothing I could really fault. And down to the things that weren't so great about this series, there's not that many because I genuinely enjoyed it and I would recommend it, but just because it has to be a balanced review, some of the storylines didn't really make sense. Like one being, how old is Ishaya? Like, he's older than his sister, who's at the age where she can enter Wilmer Academy, and Ishaya's her elder brother. So how long has he been out of school, and how is it suddenly appropriate for him to be in this school as a potentially mature student? I didn't really get that. Also, Oga Rambo and government coming to chase Ishaya and fight him for very little money just wasn't very realistic. It's like 150,000 naira. Like, that money should be chicken change for people like you. I get that they should have punished him a little bit for it, but you know, having him kind of be indebted for life selling drugs just didn't really make sense. Also, the fact that Adufe went from Olga Rambo's baby girl to now you have to sell drugs, I didn't really understand how that transition happened. Is it that he started suspecting that, you know, she liked Ishaya, or she wasn't really all for him and wanted to just use her? Because he seemed kind of like obsessed with her at the beginning, then all of a sudden that affection and all is gone and she has to start selling drugs. Also, the school not meeting Ishaya's parents to give him the scholarship, it being so easy to kind of forge his way in when this is meant to be like a really high-tech, pristine and proper school that would maybe do all the background checks, wasn't very believable either. Yeah, there's a few other things, but the final one I'm going to touch on is just the level of freedom and self-expression that the kids in the school seem to have, especially like the likes of Carmen and Atlas, being in a relationship that's very public, you know, their parents, the school, them being able to show affection any way they like, and it just being accepted that they're boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, it didn't really fit in with the Nigerian culture that I know, or African culture, with parents, you know, kind of pushing the narrative of, you know, face your books and, you know, go to school, go to university, and after get a husband. It just, they seemed very relaxed for Nigerian parents, allowing their kids to have these sort of parties, drive around, be in relationships, and that kind of thing. I didn't think it was realistic, but for, you know, the style of film they were going for, I guess it makes sense. So yeah, just to kind of summarize, I think this is Nigeria's first ever young adult series. I very much enjoyed it. I would recommend. It's refreshing. I liked it. I'd like to see more of these kind of young adult series. I'm sidetracking again, but I feel like Eni should have been in this movie series. You know, Eni and the gang. I just feel like this was something that they should have been in some way, somehow. They should have had some star appearances somewhere. That would have added a nice touch for me. But apart from that, everything else was quite enjoyable. I actually think it's something you could watch with your parents as well. I think they would like it too. It's a nice family appropriate film. There's not a lot of like X-rated stuff in there. It's okay to like watch with your family. So let me know if you've got the same opinions as me, or if you disagree with anything I said. Also give me your thoughts on the series if you've watched it. If there's any movie you'd like me to review, please drop it in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of me. Turn on the post notifications. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, your family, whoever you think would find it interesting or is about to watch the series. And I'll catch you guys in my next one.